Employees are assigned to job positions, and this plays a big part in determining what they can do on the system. Going into set up job positions, you'll see that we have a bunch here that have already been created on the system, and these are standard ones that come with the PixelPoint system. You can make changes to existing ones or add in additional ones if desired. Coming up to the first field here, we have position title. Obviously, what is the job title for this job position? The next one down is department description, and in this you assign the job position to a given department. Security level for the position. Now within this, 0 is the lowest, 99 being the highest, and you will find that within these job positions they range in intervals of 25, 50, 75, and 99. The higher the job position, the more they can do. The next field down is enforce declared cash tips. So if there is cash tip declaration that is required for the employees, then within this you can dictate as to how you want it applied. Do not enforce is the default for this, so it will not force you to declare cash tips. Or you can indicate for this job position that when they do their cash out, it will prompt them to identify what they have in cash tips. In the event the job position does not involve cash out, such as, for example, bussers, then you can set this for on clock out, in which case when they do their clock out, it will prompt them for their cash tips. Do not send POS announcements. This is for job positions that really do not need to know, for example, that the spaghetti has been sold out. On the Advanced tab, we have settings here for initial float, float being your startup cash. If startup cash or if floats are being used at this establishment and within this job position, then you can put within here, for example, don't prompt, in which case they would have to manually select what their float is within your settings. Or you can set it to prompt, so that when they do their clock in, the system will prompt them to put in their float value. If they always start with the same value, such as a cashier in a cafeteria, for example, then you can select Start With, and you can identify as far as the dollar value that they should be starting up with at the beginning of their shift. Employee Cash Out Report. Now there is an employee cash out report that is predefined within the system, and this applies to all staff who do a cash out. However, that report reflects the sales that were done by that employee, and the rule of thumb is the person who closes the check is the person who gets credit for the sale. Now, in a cashier environment, this could be a problem because waiters and waitresses, for example, may serve on the table, but it's the cashier who closes the check, so they get credit for the sale. To compensate for this, you can go into the job position for the employees who are working on the tables, and you can change this cash out to one based on who started the check. So that way then you can match up the cash out reports between the cashiers and the server staff. Percent of tip out received. In the event you're using tip pooling within the establishment, you can identify within here, for example, that everyone within this job position will get X% of the tip pool. So for example, if there was $100 in tips at the end of the night, which is the combination of all the tips that were done by all staff, then you can allocate it out. There's a back office report to reflect this. And so that way you can say, for example, bartenders may get 25%, wait staff get 50%, the kitchen staff get 25%. Minimum pay rate, maximum pay rate. You can define what acceptable rates are for these within this job position, so that when an employee is assigned this job position and given an hourly pay rate, then you can define within here what are the acceptable parameters for that. And if a pay rate is entered outside of these values, the system will not accept it. And shift rules. This is one of the areas where you can apply shift rules. You can do it globally or by job position, which is done here, or for specific employees. And shift rules identify that everyone within this job position is entitled to breaks at a certain time and also when they are coming up on overtime.